don't know why it does that. Okay. So we're going to switch over to that. And we're going to go full screen with that. We're going to get rid of that. All right. Okay. Proper intro time. Welcome once again to a new episode of the Spur of the Moment podcast. I am your host, Justin Spurr, and joined always, it's co-host Jordan, the incomparable Jordan, everybody.
Howdy.
How's it going, Jordan?
It's going okay, but I'm not in the chat quite yet.
That's okay.
That's not showing up for me just yet.
That'll give me some time to go through the intro. So today's episode, it's a new year. It's mostly the same us. Some people are going into their new season for the new year. We're not. We're still very much in our first season. We will eventually have a season break later in the year. Haven't decided when that is. But for now, we're still in the same season. But we do have some new changes. We have some new rules for book reports. Don't worry, I will explain them later at the end. There's new variations to the rules. It's all good. We'll explain that. But today, we're going to start off with some news, including aliens in Miami. We're going to talk about some upsetting Steamboat Willie news. We have our weekly segment, Marvel What If news. And we're going to talk some Minecraft. So to start off with, Jordan, let's talk about those aliens in Miami, because I don't have it marked down. Did you watch or read about it like I told you to?
Yeah, I went and I watched there was a news thing, and I mean, anytime there's blurry footage like that, it's not real. I then went and I did a little bit of a further dive, and I saw a more clear video of it. And from what it looks like and what is it just looks like it's 2 or 3 cops all walking beside each other. That
Absolutely not.
when the footage was blurry, it made it look like aliens. It's not aliens.
Well, no, but you didn't see clearly. You didn't look at the footage where it's the like 60 or 100 cop cars all descending on this mall. Like there's a bunch.
Yeah, they were there because it was a teen riot.
That's what they said, right? They said that it was what they said. And here's the thing: when it comes to aliens, I'm not a conspiracy-minded person up top, right? But when it comes to something where it's like you have no reason to obscure facts, then there's facts to be obscured. So like, okay, if it's a couple of teens lighting off firecrackers, why did that require 100 cops? And yes, okay.
No, they didn't say it was a couple of teens. It was a riot. It was hundreds of teenagers.
Again, the story keeps changing. Initially, it was that they thought it was a bunch of fireworks, and they thought that it might be a shooting. And then they were like, oh, it's a bunch of teenagers rioting. The story keeps changing. And when the story changes that much and you can't be consistent, if it was a riot, we'd have names, we'd have video, we'd have footage. There's too much trying to obscure the facts for it to not be
something. Sure, okay. But also, it's 2024, or maybe when this happened, 2023. Video cameras aren't that blurry.
Right, but there hasn't been any
video cameras aren't that blurry. Phone cameras aren't that blurry. I've known someone who has taken a picture of the moon with their phone, right, and it was crystal clear.
But there hasn't been any footage released publicly of what's been inside the mall. It's all
sure. I'm not saying that it wasn't like. I'm not saying that it is what they say it is. Maybe it was something different. It's not aliens. Why is it that every time something is alien related, the videos that are always like otherwise 1080p, super clear, super good, are all of a sudden blurry?
Right. Okay. But again, it's one thing when the official story has so many holes in it. Like this is a situation where it's the American media. If it was a school shoot, or if it was a shooting, or if it was an event, there'd be names, there'd be photos, there'd be everything, right? When the official story is so flimsy, then there's something to hide. That's all I'm saying.
Sure, and I'm not saying you're wrong in that regard.
Not just a riot of some teenagers. There was something there that happened.
There's probably something there that happened. I'm just saying it's not aliens, because why would all of a sudden, as soon as aliens are involved, the video quality is like suddenly we're back in 2016, 2013.
But there wasn't any video
and there's
inside
only
the mall. There hasn't been any video of inside the mall. I don't know where you got that.
There is a video that was the entire point of the thing, is that it's from up on top of a balcony. It's pointed down, and it's like the line of police cruisers that are all on the
Yeah,
street, and
but
you see this
there's
what
another.
looks like an alien-like creature that's walking, and then when you get the more clear footage of it, it's just three police officers walking beside each other.
No, no, but what did you
That's the
not
only thing when I
did you
that's the
not
only
see the
that's
video?
the only thing when I looked up Miami aliens that came up.
Did you not see the video footage though of like the hundreds of police cars all?
Yes. Yes, and they were all, and there was an alien that was an alien that was walking, and
Yeah,
when
no,
you get the
that's
clearer footage of that same scene, it's just three police officers or however many police officers walking beside each other, and it was the blurriness of the footage that made it look like it was an alien.
no, but
There's no alien.
that's I mean that was there was a lot of again. There's more than one eyewitness who described, and the thing is when more than one eyewitness describes something consistently, then there's truth in the middle. Like when like four or five people all describe the same thing, which is 10 foot tall aliens, then there's something going on there, right? There's enough
I need to
consistent.
I need to see a clear footage where it's
But
actually very
but
apparent
again,
that it's an alien.
but
Otherwise, I'm calling bullshit.
but then again, why?
Because
But
why in 2024,
no, but okay,
2023, whenever this happened,
put that out of your
why
mind.
would all of a sudden, no, why would all of a sudden, as soon as there's an alien involved, we don't have clear footage of it? No, I'm
Because
sorry, no.
okay, then why is there that many cops descending on for no that not that many?
I,
That's it's
I
too.
don't know. You're right. It's weird. I'm not saying it's not weird. I'm just saying it's not an alien.
Then what is it? What is
I
it?
have no idea. Maybe it's a time traveler.
No, I mean it's alien a different
Maybe
name.
maybe the temporal fucking vortex that was revolving around it is what caused the footage to be blurry. But no, I'm sorry. As soon as there's an alien, footage doesn't just get blurry like that.
Yeah, but again,
Not
no one's.
not in
That's not.
not in this day and
But
age of
that's
technology.
not what the crux of this is based on. It's not based on one piece of footage. It's based on several eyewitness, consistent, similar eyewitness accounts of this thing happening. Right? It's not just footage. It's not just
I
one
didn't
piece
see
of footage.
I didn't see anything that would make me believe that it was aliens.
Yeah, I mean, right, but again, it should be enough to make you question
Something
the
weird?
official.
Something weird? Sure. No, I didn't. But I did like 10 minutes of research because you didn't give me that much time.
That's the thing is it's one of those like there's too many irregularities in this for it to not be. And my thing is people keep saying, oh, there's only so many times people can say, um, oh, if we have all this social media, how come we're not talking about this? And now near every other week it seems there's an alien spot, like people spotting alien shit or alien shit happening, and it's like, yeah, okay, yeah. Now people are like, oh, how come we keep talking about this so much? And it's like that's because yeah, we have social media now, and that's why. Now we're connected. It's like when everyone was like, oh, alien stuff only seems to happen in America. No, that's not true. Alien stuff only it happens everywhere. It happens all across the planet, and it's consistent everywhere. And yeah, it's not just America. And I think yeah, now that we're more interconnected, yeah, I think that's why they're like announcing it and telling people it and being more open with it because they've hit a point where like, oh, we can't keep the cat in the bag anymore. And maybe yeah, this isn't the first time that an alien has walked around a mall, but this is the first time that they can't cover it up because there's so many people who are on social media now. Because this thing is all over my TikTok, and I've seen all sorts of different videos of different angles of different, and it's weird. You don't call that many cops in for some the amount of and they shut down the airspace and they won't say what it is and they're being cagey about this story. If it is what they're saying it is, you wouldn't be. It's one of those things where you don't hide a thing like in that fashion unless you have something to hide, right? If there was nothing to hide, it wouldn't look like you were hiding something.
Sure, but and I'm mostly playing devil's advocate at this point because I want to stress for the people listening, I believe in aliens. I
Aliens
do
are a
believe
thing. They
I
exist.
do fully believe that they are. You can't argue against aliens. They have to exist. We are not the only intelligent beings in all of space.
Yeah.
It is a mathematical like we have to. So that's not my point here. My point is just in this specific, and again, I haven't seen any of what you're talking about on my TikTok. I haven't seen anyone talking about this. So that's fascinating to see how the algorithm works in that regard.
I mean, I've made a lot
But
of videos about aliens, so it doesn't
um
surprise me.
but I haven't seen anything. So my only interaction with this is, yeah, like the 10 minutes that I did doing a cursory Google thing before we started this podcast. But that being said, if I can think of like other things that could be happening that are terrestrial in nature, spies, other foreign governments, like
Yeah,
creating
I don't know.
chaos. Other like there's if I can think of other reasons or other
There's
things that
there,
it could be.
but I could poke holes in your stuff just as much as you can poke holes in my stuff,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Right?
And that's where I'm not disagreeing that it's not weird and that they're not covering something up. I just don't in this specific instance, I just don't think it's aliens.
I mean, to me, it's just there's too many. I'm not saying it is or it isn't because obviously Pixar didn't happen. That's still my firm.
That's my big
That's
thing
my
is
firm thing.
if
Um,
all these like if and that's my major issue with this being an alien thing is you're right in this age of social media where everyone has a camera in their pocket and can pull it out and it's 1080p and it's 4K
but
whatever like super good. No, let me finish. In this day and age, if something like that was happening, someone would have gotten a clear shot.
well, it depends. It depends on
No,
what
it doesn't.
it
It
does
doesn't.
though, because
If you have the
that
hundreds of
does.
people that you're talking about being there, one person. That's
But
all it would take.
again, okay, here's the thing,
One
right?
person.
Here's the thing: is every bit a bunch of the footage I've seen is people running out of that mall, right? Um, and
Yeah,
everyone.
and one person would be like would
Hold
be
on,
the
hold on, hold
insane
on,
person who's
hold
a
on.
Star Wars or Star
No,
Trek and going
no,
like, "Oh my god,"
not
and
necessarily.
capturing it. Yes,
Because no,
there
let me
would.
let me finish, please. No, because if you're running from a thing, your first instinct is to run from the thing, right? Every time, your first instinct isn't I'm going to stop and put myself into. It's the same thing, and also just the sheer amount of times where I've attempted to like pull my phone quickly out to snag a picture of something, and the moment's passed, right? Like there's not necessarily that. Maybe yeah, the odds are that one person maybe would, but if you're running from a
There
hold
would
on,
be
hold
one
on, hold on, let me
person.
finish, Um, but if you're in danger, and if it's as dangerous as people had described it, if it was just a normal like it was a shooting event or they thought it was fireworks, the people who were running out of the mall would have said that, right? They have no reason to not say that. You have to ask yourself, these people who are saying this thing, what motivation do they have to not just if it wasn't an alien? Again, I'm not saying it is. But what is their motivation to lie? That's what you have to ask yourself, right? That's what you have to say. What is their motivation to say that it's aliens? Because
I mean,
people will call them crazy, right?
I do have an answer to that. Government pressure. Government or police pressure. We will ruin your life if you say anything about
Right.
this.
But here's the thing, right? If it was just a normal, I hate to use the phrase, it's America, but if it was an average shooting, ooh, it feels gross saying that. But if it was just you know what I mean, like a shooting scenario, all those people would have come out and been like, yeah, it was some kids letting off fireworks in the thing, and they would
Right.
have,
And that
again, what is the reason to make
and
up an alien thing?
Right, and that's where I say I could only believe if it's a terrestrial thing and it's not an extraterrestrial alien thing. But if it's a terrestrial thing, the only thing that makes sense to me is it's a foreign power doing something that they don't want to like. So, for example, I'm throwing the most wild thing that I could think of out here. It's like Russian soldiers who are on American soil,
Right,
and
but
America doesn't want to kick off World War III.
right, but then,
And if they
but
officially let me if we're talking crazy conspiracies, this is just as crazy as
but that
aliens.
doesn't but that doesn't make
um
any sense.
yes, it does, because
No,
if for example a foreign nation was on their soil doing something of that
right,
nature, then they have to officially declare war,
right. But the thing
which
is,
kicks off World War III.
the thing is though, if that did happen, if this was an instance of a foreign government attacking us, which it's not,
Not
um,
us, we're not American.
whatever, it's not, it would effectively be because it's one of those you attack when you attack all scenarios. But if it was like the government show, I mean the government didn't show up, it was all local police. And number one, and number two, if they did show up, they would pressure you to say that it was a shooting thing because they wouldn't let you come out and be like it's aliens. That creates attention, right? So like you have to ask yourself, why are these people, if they are covering something up, why are they saying it's aliens in order to I mean, some people think that it's a thing to hide up the Epstein stuff, but that's
I
the
could
question.
believe
That's
that.
the question is when someone says something crazy, like truly crazy, and being like, and a bunch of people all are saying the same crazy thing. You have to ask yourself, why are they saying this crazy thing? Because if you say a crazy thing, people call you crazy. You don't. Most people don't out of the blue. Most people who aren't like have mental illness don't out of the blue say something crazy, right? So you have to ask, why are they doing that?
I
And
mean, there
if
could have been something in the air.
maybe, but even then, um, it's one of those things where yeah, you have to ask. There's too many red flags there for it not to be something. And I fully believe that yeah, there are aliens and they do walk around, and we're at a stage in our life where we're so interconnected that they just can't hide it anymore. That's where I think we're at. Like I'm not saying that this was an instance, but I'm saying I'm like 60% of the way there to thinking it is.
I mean, I the skeptic in me is gonna you have to. I don't believe that no one would have gotten a picture of it.
Right, but
That's
again,
that's 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 the one thing that makes me go no, is because no, there would have been someone hiding that would have snapped something.
uh,
There would be more, whether it was blurry, whether it was whatever. There would at least be more
based
corroborating evidence.
based on
There
what
would be
I've
security. There would be security video from the mall.
yeah, but they're not going to release that. That's the thing, is right? Is no one? They're not going to release. If it is aliens, they desperately want to pretend that it isn't. They're not gonna release that. Like that's the thing, and it depends. Based on what I've heard of eyewitnesses, no, there was too much chaos and there was too much running to get any pictures. Like I've
That
seen
that's convenient that not one person could get a picture.
I've
That
seen
that's
there's a
that's
lot
a
of
convenient thing that kind of makes your
no
story easier to believe.
because when you're running away from a thing, when you're escaping a thing, when you're being
Not
like
one person, not one
like
out of thousands or hundreds or however many it was. No, I'm
I'll put it to you
sorry,
this way:
I don't buy it.
in an active shooting event, no one's taking pictures, right? Like no one's gonna stop and
No,
be like, "Oh
no,
my god,
because
aliens!" They're not gonna
that no,
stop. They're not gonna do
but
that.
that's a false
But
equivalency,
it's not.
Justin.
But it's not.
It is.
But it's
You're
not.
not going to take a video of a human shooter. Why would you? There's nothing
I
extraordinary
mean,
there.
you're not gonna have
You would
time.
absolutely try to be the person who could get
No,
the $1 million photo of the first alien. Yes.
not if it
Yes.
means no.
Human beings are absolutely that greedy. There would be
No,
one person in the
absolutely not.
crowd.
No, not if it
Yes.
was a
Yes, there
no,
would.
absolutely not.
Yes, there would.
Not if it's a danger event.
Yes,
No,
there
absolutely not.
would.
Absolutely not. No,
I'm sorry, but this is where and we're not going to
absolutely
get
not.
any further in this. We're going to have to respectfully agree to
It's
disagree.
I mean again, you're running from something that you think is attacking you. You're not gonna stop to take a picture. You're just not. You wouldn't.
You underestimate human greed.
But I don't underestimate.
You're right.
You
If
underestimate.
this was a normal everyday situation, a
No,
human terrestrial situation, yes, absolutely, you're
uh,
right. That is one conversation
you're
to have.
you're
But to be the person who gets the video or photographic evidence of something that changes the very
not
fate of the
not
world,
if it's attacking
yes,
you. No,
yes,
even
yes, there would absolutely
no.
yes. But if it's a mall full of people, yes, there would absolutely be one person who is quickly hiding behind a corner to get a
Absolutely
picture
not.
and then boots it. Yes, yes, there is.
No,
Yes,
no. There's no.
anyone anyone who is listening to this who agrees with me, comment and tell us.
Most people have most unless they're insane. Most people
You're right.
have
You're
an
right.
ounce of
75, 80%, 90%, sure. But there would absolutely be
no.
at least 1% of a
It,
person. Yes, there would.
not unless you want to get
I would.
trampled.
I
No,
would.
you wouldn't. No, you
Yes, I
wouldn't.
would.
No, you
Yes,
don't.
I
No,
would.
you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. That's an absolute lie. Okay, I know because I wouldn't. I'd run. I'd absolutely run. I'm not gonna stop and risk my life for a picture. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth your life. No picture is worth your life. And any person with an ounce of sanity would agree with that. Nope. Then that's why.
Justin, Justin.
I'm
There
gonna.
are a lot of humans who do not have an ounce of sanity.
No,
I'm sorry.
not that
You're
level. No,
wrong. You're
no,
wrong.
I'm
You're
not.
wrong in this
I'm not
instance.
wrong.
You are.
I'm not wrong. You would absolutely again if you felt it was you or the alien, you would do one of two things. You would attack it, or you would run. right? You fight or flight every single time. Humans at the end of the day are animals.
The amount of videos that you see of people who won't jump onto a train track, for example, to save a person, but want to stand there, take out their camera, and take video of it just to go viral.
I mean no, I mean again,
The amount of people who would watch a man drown just so they could get video of it.
yeah, but in that instance, you're
No,
not.
I'm sorry.
In
I'm
that
sorry.
in that
There would
instance,
be
though,
there would be at least one person
no.
who would on the top floor of it, who's far enough away. Yes, they would stand there for a second, get a quick picture, and then run.
No, because a person that far away is going to see a stampede of people, and they're not going to know what's going on. And they're going to. That's the thing is, in a situation like that, you're not informed of everything. That you just see a bunch of people running, so you're also going to run, right? And that's the thing is, human instinct to survive, it will 9 times out of 10. And even if they did get video, they'd be running, and the video and footage would probably be mostly unusable. It'd be blurry. It'd be you wouldn't see anything. That's the thing is you're not putting yourself.
We're not talking about what the efficacy or what the quality of it would necessarily be. I'm simply saying people would try to take a picture of it. Yes, they would. Yes, they would. If they saw an alien, yes, they would.
Not in a crowded mall where you're.
Yeah, they would.
Again, you're looking at this from the perspective of someone who's sitting here safely. You're not thinking about it from the perspective of. I'm not saying because they're scared of the aliens. I'm saying that it's going to be a panic mess of people running and bodies and especially in that scenario, that you see there's footage of like huge crowds of people like booking it out of that mall, right? And you're not gonna turn in that crowd of people and be like selfie, or, you're not gonna do that. You're not gonna have that, and that's what you have to get in your brain is you're sitting here being like, I'm gonna stop and have time to think about taking a picture of this. You're not gonna have time. You're gonna be busy running because you're not gonna want to get trampled by a crowd of people. That's why. And then that's
I
why,
disagree.
And that's why most times when people like it irritates me. This is the reason why I'm so adamant about this is because it irritates me when people are like, well, don't just people take pictures of it because in that moments happen so quickly, and we don't know the biology. We don't know what if these things did exist, what they look like. They were described as like 7-foot tall shadow monsters. Like, we don't know. We have no human comprehension or understanding of how a thing moves. Maybe they did take pictures and they don't show up on film. We don't know. Maybe they have technology where they don't. We can't, like, it's different.
No.
It's different. Aliens
I don't buy
different. You're looking at it from having human comprehension, right? It's different than something terrestrial, like what's the word? A cryptozoologist. Like, it's different than like with the why don't we have pictures of it if it exists? Although I've seen some pretty interesting video recently of Bigfoot. If we were talking Bigfoot and I said, oh, people are saying they saw Bigfoot, I'd be like, yeah, no, I don't believe in Bigfoot. I don't. I've seen some interesting videos, but or Loch Ness Monster, any of that stuff. If it's something that's from Earth but mythological, then sure. But with aliens, we don't know enough. We have no understanding of a thing we can't possibly understand. So when people are like, oh, there's no pictures, my argument is then that's because they don't want us to take pictures of them, right? Obviously, they're advanced. They're an advanced species of people. So to say why don't we have pictures of it, because they probably have prevented us from taking pictures of them, would be my response to that. That's one of those things is we can't understand it. But when enough people say a thing, is yes, there's obviously that's why I say I'm only 60% of the way there, because the other 40% is like, yes, mass hysteria and false memory but yeah, there's too many red flags. Anyway, let us actually jump into movie news, because this went on for longer than I was anticipating. Where shall we start? Oh yes, the Orville. Apparently Orville's not dead.
Oh, good.
Yeah, according to Scott Grimes and Seth MacFarlane, it's not dead. Apparently, conversations are still happening. My theory has always been that Seth MacFarlane does too many projects at once. So the reason why we haven't seen season 4 of The Orville is because he made that TED show that nobody asked for. It looks fine.
The one that I don't believe that kid grows into Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg? No, neither do I.
Otherwise, it looked fine. That's my one sticking point.
The one thing I remember about TED 2 was being like, this should just be a show. Why isn't this clearly wants to be a show? Like, it was like 4 or 5 episodes in like one movie, and I just remember being like, pick a plot line, like any one of these would have been fine. So it makes sense that he went in the. I thought though it was going to be for the longest time it was going to be 2D animated. It was going to be in a sort of similar style to his cartoons, which is Family Guy, American Dad. It was going to be
I
kind
mean,
of in that style.
at that point, and clearly this was their thought as well. Why bother? Just go back to Family Guy.
I guess, or maybe they were like they got the budget for it to. I honestly don't know because it's a limited show. It's only like one season. It sounds like, and it's just a limited series. It kind of just sounds like he had an idea for a movie and it turned into something bigger. But it's in the same style as the show. He looks like he does on the show, like or in the movies. I mean,
The movie.
yeah. And it looks like a fun show. I mean, I'm not against it. If I have access to it, I'll probably watch it. I'm not going to seek it out, mind you, but I'll watch it. It is a little frustrating that it's holding up Orville, which I believe is a far superior product.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I like Orville.
There's been a lot of surprising people in my life being like, "Oh, I like Orville." It's always fun. Like I saw a really funny quote, not to get political, but there is someone bitching about one of the directors of the new Star Wars movies said awoke and it bothered people, and this one person was like, "Man, I'm tired of this woke Star Wars nonsense. I'm more of a Trekkie," and I was like, "Oh, buddy, you know." Wait, don't tell him that it's utilitarian socialism. That might upset him.
That might upset him.
Yeah.
Might set him off.
I mean, in my opinion, I've always said this: the Orville is the most ideal version of the Star Trek future, because it's like it's still the Star Trek future. We have spaceships and replicator technology, but they're for some reason making 21st century pop culture references.
Like and thus I can relate to it more.
Exactly. I don't know why they would. People don't remember stuff from the 80s and it's supposed to be like 1,000 years in the future, but whatever. Who cares? It's fun. And there's some genuinely good episodes of that, especially in the third season. And it's like, if it's one of those shows where every season gets better, a fourth season. The problem with it is it's now an entirely a streaming show. It's on Hulu, Disney Plus in Canada, and it's very expensive, and those shows don't make money. They're not making ad money.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. But now that they're Disney Plus, Netflix, and I think Prime as well now, they're gonna have the ad options on their stuff. So maybe they'll make some money that way, and they can afford to keep making them.
Who knows? I mean, if I'm a person, I'm like, fuck you, no. That's not why I paid for this. But
no, I pay extra to have the ad free version, which means they will also get more money from me, which means maybe they can afford to make more of this show.
Maybe. I mean, for me, if you're gonna put ads on it, make it free. That's my thing. Like I'm not paying. Like Tubi
is great. You know, it's free and it has ads.
Sponsor us, Tubi.
Sponsor. Hashtag we will totally be sponsored and sell your stuff.
I will sell Tubi because Tubi is phenomenal.
The amount of movies and shows that I have watched on it. It is absolutely great.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know. Maybe it's because we're like millennials and we're not spoiled.
We had ads back in the day. We had
commercials back in the day. Oh yeah, by the way, I forgot to mention up top. Book reports are coming later in the episode. It's from the year we were born. We're not going to tell you the year we were born or years maybe. Stick around to find out what that is. And if you're watching and if there's anyone in the chat, I don't imagine there will be. But if there is, you can try and guess what the year is going to be throughout the show if you'd like. That's fun. That's a fun bit of engagement. But we will reveal that mystery at the end when we get to the book reports. Anyway, moving on. Did you hear some 13-year-old kid is the first ever person to beat Tetris? What kind of blew my mind?
I did see that, and then I saw that there was also a news thing where like there was a British news lady who was like a total unpleasant word about it.
Yeah.
And I I'm just like, man, kid's having a good time. Why you got to rain on his parade?
Yeah, she was like, oh, maybe she basically said like the boomer equivalent to go touch grass. And,
pretty much.
And I was like,
something like go get a life, basically.
Yeah, I saw a video. It was like, there's better goals to have in life. And I'm like, you know what? You know the amount of dexterity and focus I can get through like
eye-hand coordination.
Yeah, I get through like 2 levels of Tetris. Like it requires actual skill and ability.
Yeah, no, especially if you're doing it on the old arcade machine.
Yeah.
That in particular is hard.
And just like screw off. Like, I mean, fuck you, baby.
You-
Like,
Like, let them have fun.
yeah, let the kid have fun and like,
As a queen once said, let them eat cake.
yeah. Well, I mean that was bad. That was a bad thing she said.
No, no, but just let them have cake.
I mean that was not a
All
good
the
thing that she said, but
all of their problems will go away if you just let them eat cake.
I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, that's true. I think the funny part about that was somebody who was like, there's a person I saw who was basically like, she's being derisive, like she's being like, oh, whatever, go touch grass, but like somebody in their news department like thought that was an important enough story to like put on the air and have her read it out loud. So like, again, fuck you, maybe like.
Like you're not in charge of content
I
control,
mean, I'm not one of
so
those guys, but like, who the fuck is watching local news anyway? So like,
I mean, media is basically dead.
basically, traditional media is dead, and you need to, maybe I don't know, maybe there are better goals to have. That's all I'm saying.
Just go start a YouTube account.
Or start a podcast.
Like like the rest of us.
Actually, it was funny. Just as a really quick aside, I saw someone, on my it was a friend. I saw a friend on my Instagram who was like, "Oh, should I start a podcast?" And I almost messaged her, and I
I
was
know
almost
exactly
like,
who you're
I
talking
was like,
about. Yeah,
I know a guy.
yeah. Join us.
I join the net. We'll get to why you should join the network later, but you should join the network. They're very helpful if you want to start a podcast. Um,
That's
but
funny.
the funny thing about the kid beating Tetris though is I thought someone did already. I didn't realize that they hadn't. I could have sworn I'm having a real Mandela effect about this because I could have sworn I saw a news report about
No,
it.
I think you're thinking of Pac-Man.
Am I thinking? You know what? Now that you say that, now that you've said that, I think I might be. Someone beat Pac-Man for the first time like years ago.
Because like I know like the greatest record or whatever is basically like you hit the final level and then half the screen becomes all glitchy because the cartridge like
Yeah,
basically flips over on itself and gets all confused, and
yeah.
the person who got the high score had to get points on the like broken damaged side of the screen,
Oh, interesting.
and that's how they got the record.
Oh, interesting. Because what's interesting about those games, not
Something like
having
that anyway.
not having like you can beat it is. What did Pac-Man start? I guess it did start out as an arcade game, didn't it?
Uh,
Um, yeah, I was gonna say like video games had ending screens, but I guess no, arcade games didn't really at that point, did they?
Not
You were
really.
expected to give up by that point
Or die.
or die. Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, just being 13 into putting that. I mean, yeah, I guess he doesn't have a whole lot going on for him in terms of the personal, the social life or whatever, or the personal. Like he doesn't
Hey
have a
man,
job.
you don't know. He might be a very popular boy.
That is, I mean, he is now. That is true.
Yeah, yeah, he certainly is now.
I mean, he's certainly getting his first over the pants. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Whoa, Justin. He's like 13. That's not appropriate.
That is true.
We do not condone that here. We will never say something like that again. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I am slightly ashamed of myself, but like what I'm saying is he's getting the ladies. Is what I maybe should have said.
He is getting
Or
kissing booth
boys,
kisses.
or boys,
He is getting kissing booth kisses from boys and or girls,
and or
depending on what
girls,
he
or
prefers.
both if that's what he's into. If he
Whatever,
wants,
whatever,
yeah,
whatever floats your boat.
yeah. And I'm not
But
saying
let's stop talking about the love life of this 13-year-old
this
boy,
of this
please.
13 of this very skilled with his hands 13-year-old boy. That's all I'm saying.
No more, no more.
So we're gonna move on to this section of the news. That's the what if section, the Marvel's what if section.
There's more to talk about for that.
Yeah. Well, number one, the head writer. I think I meant to talk about this last week and I forgot. The head writer left after the end of this last season.
Oh yeah, I did read that.
Which good. Maybe we'll actually maybe we'll take some
I mean,
chances.
it's always nice to have a change. After a couple seasons, you get an opportunity to have maybe some. I don't want to say better, more creative, more risk taking, bolder, less safe. Any of these you could slide into
Yep.
this type of stories to come out of it.
Yes. More
Also,
of them because they do exist.
also
It's not to say that what if isn't taking chances.